very nearly about sailing in November 2024. My name's Paul. Yeah, this channel is called Very Nearly About Sailing, but I'm going to change the name in the new year to Very Nearly About Something. So I suppose at the moment it's very nearly about something, not quite about anything at the moment. There's been, and I've detailed this in other videos, so I'm not going to talk about it, but there's been about 5 years of hiatus in my life and on the channel, and next year I really want to go out and have a few adventures, whether that's in the UK, whether that's abroad, I don't care. I need to do some travelling. One of the things this is going to be a short video, one of the reasons being is that I've been focusing on getting myself back ready to do these things rather than getting Serenity sorted out. There has been a little bit of work. I've been looking at where I can put the internal grab rails. Right, so I've been wanting to put these handholds on for ages. And what I think I'm going to do, this is where the hatch is to put them just inside the hatch. And that gets me all the way, you can't see, but I can reach over and grab the mast support thing, compression post. Yeah, so this is the slidey bit, which is incredibly heavy. That is made out of a substantial bit of fiberglass that is literally 5, 6, 7 millimeters thick, and that's just the flat bit where it slides on, with just a basic runner here, and then a couple of really deep it's in a really deep channel, so water is not going to get inside the boat, and it never has, to be fair. What I'm wondering is if there's wood underneath this bit, I could screw those internal handholds in from there. And this is a sort of Bakelite type stuff. I don't know what it is. That could be, to be honest, I thought this was going to be horrific in here, but it's not too bad. And I've been doing a little bit of planning for Serenity to see what projects I've got going, and so on. But most of it has been getting the motorcycle, my Honda 250N Super Dream, which I wasn't going to use at all, getting it ready for going and doing some reasonable length touring, and it's now as ready as it can be. The other thing is I bought, was it last year or a year before, I can't remember, a 150-year-old piano that needed complete refurbishment. It's taken me ages to do it. I had cleaned all of this really is a very random channel, by the way, if it's the first time you've been on it. So we're getting pianos, we're getting motorcycles, we're getting a little bit of sailing, we're getting a little bit of software. I'd taken most of it apart. A lot of the piano has actually been sorted out. I'd taken the thick bass strings. The bass strings, basically, they're big thick bass strings, which is just one of for each note. Then there's two for each note, and then it goes into what's called the trichords. And they were very, very dull. So I took the bass notes off individually, gave them a sonic clean. I've got videos of this which I may or may not share later on at some point in the future. And it really changed it. You're not really supposed to touch these things, but I thought, well, if I have to replace them, there's nothing left. And I thought, what if I just get one of those whirly things and put some cleany stuff on them and try and actually clean them? Will it work? No, it didn't, but it makes a really interesting sound when you take all the dampers and stuff off the piano. Anyway, let's have a quick look at this. Starting off with the lifting thing that I made to lift the piano and put it on its back, which makes it really easy. That was my first woodworking project. There was a lot of woodworking last year. So here's a failed, spoiler alert, here's a failed piano project. It's more about confidence than anything else, because once you tip it over to sort of this level, hopefully you can see that, it's really very balanced. It's very, very strong. And then when it comes down the other side, you kind of go past the balance point, and it sits there like a little sort of table thing. So I'll start with a little clean first to see if that makes any difference, then I'll get the tarnish guard on it. So, was that a cracking success? Well, no, not really, to be honest. I think I will have to take them off and do them properly. But at least it's got me to a stage where I can put the rest of the... you'll notice there are things missing, these things. I've reshaped and refurbished the hammers. I've refurbished the dampers. I need to give these a thoroughly good clean. And I need to, the whip and assembly, I need to give that a thoroughly good clean and lubricate with some special piano stuff. Right, so yeah, I'll show you why it wasn't a cracking success. You can hear, and by the way, this is only roughly tuned, it's not, I haven't tuned it properly at all. You can hear the difference between that and that. As you go up, gets better, and then when I go to the trichord, not a huge amount of difference between the two, but yeah, they will have to come off because that's a bit too... You can hear that's more sonorous, and that was really dull before. So yeah, but anyway, as I say, it means I can focus on getting these things soda blasted, cleaned, put on, and then I can easily whip this off. Pianos come apart really easily. Take the strings off and do them. Right, so a couple of last jobs on the Honda, one of which was to, and I'm smiling because I wanted to do this on a day that it was promised that some sun would shine and you could see some sparkle. But one of the last jobs is just give it an overall wash down with some of that foam stuff. Clean up the wheels, clean the tank, degrease it, give it a waxing and so on. Nothing too spectacular. This is not detailing. I'm not looking for it to be the most beautiful bike in the world. Second most beautiful is absolutely fine by me. So that was one of the jobs, and I was hoping to actually reveal it with the sun shining down, but the sun just hasn't come out today at all. And the other job, actually I'll show you a close up. The other job, and I think I mentioned this before, is that in this tail section there's quite a bit of space. And what I wanted to do is, if I can get this off, yes I can. There's a bit of space here that's not used at all, and I like to have spare bulbs and things, so I've made up a little box. It's just plywood which I've painted and made sure that it's relatively weather resistant, and that will fit on there quite nicely. I've put some foam so it's not going to rattle around, so that fits underneath the thing. I'm probably going to put some the ubiquitous black tie strap, plant strap things, what are they called, you know what I mean, on there, and then I've got some foam that I'm going to cut to shape, and I can put a whole spare set of bulbs and so on in that, and perhaps some spark plugs, things like that. So there's a section for the toolkit and so on, and I'm just assembling a toolkit for it. Don't want to take a huge amount with me, but yeah, that'll be useful, because as I say, that was just a completely waste of time, and the straps for underneath for where the luggage go on fit fine. So yeah, that was a job well worth doing. So, time to put her away for the winter. So I should have left it at that, but we've been having what's called colloquially, meteorologically, as a dirty high, which is when you get a cloud cover and there are no shadows, there's no sun. It was just horrible. It was like living in a sort of a grey world. And then the sun came out yesterday, which was the 29th of November, and I just couldn't resist it. It was cold, but we had sun, so I loaded up all the luggage. It took me a long time to put it on the bike. It takes me about 20 odd minutes to load it up. That's too long. I'm going to do something slightly different. So this is kind of testing out, because once I get myself up to fitness and so on, once the weather is not nice in the new year, I want to be able to go straight out and do a a mini trip of some sort. So I loaded all that up, and I've got some new motorcycle gear. I've got some proper boots, some nice warmer gloves, various options for layering up and so on. And the other thing I wanted to do is I've been learning Garmin's Basecamp. I've got an old car sat-nav, which I've kind of waterproofed a bit by just putting some silicone around that bit, and I'll put some tape over that bit, and if it explodes, it explodes. I don't like Garmin stuff, I don't like their software, but they're very, very powerful. But Garmin Basecamp allows you to input your route, and then you can convert it into a track so it'll follow it exactly, or you can get it to sort of optimize on the device once you load it onto the device. I'm not sure the optimization is the same on both, because I got into a real pickle yesterday when I went out. And also I've got a really old map, really old map, and I actually went to Triumph, the motorcycle dealer in Ashford, and Ashford is completely different. My poor sat-nav got very confused, and I was very confused actually. I had to get directions from the guy at Triumph, had to get back on past, and I didn't want to go on the motorway route. So and I've got loads of maps. I've got my NC 500 map, which is one of the first things I want to do next year. I've got a great European tour. I like to do a combination of maps and software, but I need to get this sorted out a little bit more in terms of how it sort of works. It's not the friendliest. A lot of people just don't use it at all. But if I can't find my way from the south coast to a Triumph dealer in Ashford using this software, then I'm really stuck when I start to go out to the Europe, aren't I? Anyway, that was it for this month. As I say, it's mostly about getting me sorted. Next month, of course, there will be the Christmas special. It won't be a piano piece, as I think you can see. It will be quite short. And the next few months, and we're going to have the proper channel change name for January. And then really nothing fantastic is going to happen until the clocks go forward again. So I shall wish you a very happy Thanksgiving, although that was a couple of days ago, and see you for the Christmas special next month.